What is going on, everyone? Happy Tuesday. Hope you guys are all having a great start to your week. It's technically my Monday, so my whole week is thrown off big time. I'm still recovering from the weekend. It was a rowdy one. I see a lot of comments here. So let's before we do anything, let's get this ticker going. Appreciate you guys showing up week in and week out. I know sometimes people miss sporadically, and I appreciate you guys. Even if it's your first time watching, if you jump in occasionally, I appreciate you guys being here. It's always fun checking out and hanging out, I should say, and just getting to chat with you guys. So, all right, let's check out some of these comments. We got Roger checking in from Michigan. Good to see you, Roger. Heather, as always, good to see you, Heather. The Tullies, we have a 53-man roster. Let the season begin. Yes, I'm excited. I don't know about you guys, but it feels very odd that it's Labor Day this weekend. It does not feel like that should be the case at all. Time flies. We have Ron over in Appleton. Good to see you as always, Ron. Swag Coda. Good to see you, buddy. Corey in New Ulm. Yeah, Ron. It'll be interesting who they fill with the practice squad with. I couldn't agree more. Keith, good to see you as well. Steve checking in from Kentucky. Christy, hello. Kirby. Casey, good to see you, man. Battling the illness to hang out on the live show. I love it. Oh, Jason's back again. Now it's a party. Now I got to bring my A game. We got Jason here. Hope you guys had a great weekend. Like I said, it's my Monday. I went to enemy territory this weekend. Went to the Minnesota State Fair. Got to hang out with Dakota while I was over there. Kirby was too cool for us. He said he had a birthday party for his 4-year-old or something. I don't know. Apparently that's priority over hanging out with us. But we had a lot of fun. Dakota's probably still at the milk stand, I think, taking them for all they can. They have at the Minnesota State Fair, they have a stand where you pay $3 and it's unlimited milk you can drink. So Dakota was trying to bankrupt him while he was there, but I think I spent like $120 on food there, and I got to be honest with you, we didn't even get that crazy of amount of food. We got cookies, which you have to get cookies if you go to Minnesota State Fair. It's like a big bucket of cookies. I think that was $20. We got some drinks. We got a lemonade. It was $9. We got a Pronto Pup, I think is what they're called. They're like corn dogs. That was $12 or $13. Everything there is like $10 plus, and it was a good time. We ate a lot of stuff, and we definitely had a fun time. It was always good to chat with Dakota and get to hang out. We had a stroller, and there was because my son came with and my wife was with, but there are so many people. It's like trying to navigate the thickness of the NFL draft with a stroller. It was a nightmare. We kept hitting people. It was a good time though. Kyle, good to see you. We got the whole, I don't even know how to pronounce you guys' last name. Hague family. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but we got the whole squad. Maybe it's Hagee. I don't know. Maybe you guys got the German last name, 2 vowels. You pronounce the last one. Maybe it's Hagee. I don't know. Either way, we got the whole family here, whole squad here. So good to see you guys. Kirby says the birthday cake was delicious. You know what else was delicious, Kirby? Were the chocolate chip cookies that you could have been enjoying hanging out with Dakota and I. And the Luigi fries. Those are dude, everything there is like $9 minimum. I don't think I saw much that was less than $9. The bottles of water and soda, I think, were $4. The all you can drink milk was $3. But everything else, food wise, $9 and up. It was absurd. But before we get rambling too much, I've already kind of rambled here a little bit. Here's that giveaway link. Fill that out. If it's your first time watching, fill that out. I'm going to post it multiple times throughout the week. Just fill it out one time. One time only, please. We will draw a giveaway winner later in the show. You don't have to be here the entire time to be eligible, but you need to be here when I announce the winner to claim your prize if you do win. It said an error occurred But let me know if you guys see that in the comments. I'll post it again. But let me know how that if you see that posted there. Jason says I was in Illinois this weekend, Santa's Village, aka glorified Bay Beach. Way too much Bears garb around for me to be comfortable. I have zero faith in that team or fans after being there. I mean, I got to be honest with you, Jason. I think they have zero faith in themselves as well. Although I do think the Bears will probably. I mean, at some point they have to put it together. At some point they need to be able to figure it out. Whether that's lightning in a bottle in one season, but at some point they're going to get it together. I mean, if Detroit did it, I think Chicago can as well. But we'll see if they can have lasting success or not. Heather says scene, so I'm guessing the link there worked for you guys. I don't know why it's telling me that an error occurred. Stupid thing. All right, so it's kind of like Corey says, I don't know a good way to tell through typing how to pronounce it, but it's more like Hague. Okay, I don't know if I said it right there, but no. Sorry for butchering it. It's always a bummer when that happens, so my bad. The ruling body of the Netherlands, the Hague. Okay, cool. Josh said didn't work, so I'm gonna post it again. Let me know if you guys got this. I hope we're not just that time it didn't give me an error. So hopefully you guys got it that time. Just want to make sure that you guys can get that form and get that filled out. If you haven't done so before, it's a pretty quick form. That's how we do giveaways towards the end of the show. It didn't work because of permissions on it, or we just didn't see it. Because I see some responses already in there. So some people must have gotten it to work. Let me know. Let me know if you guys. Let me know if that's corrected, Ron. Because I see some responses coming in. So I don't know. Let me know, and we'll try to troubleshoot it together. That's the joy of live shows. I don't think I mentioned it, but this season again, we are going to do that. If the Packers were to lose, we'll do double giveaways the following Tuesday. I might have mentioned it somewhere, but if not, we're going to do the same kind of layout this year. I also need to think about if we're going to be doing the scenario of the week. I think we did that last year. Those were kind of fun to do, so maybe we'll do something like that again, and we'll kind of take it from there. Jenny, good to see you. Thanks for jumping in. Always good to see you. And Casey said it worked now. My stupid mouse. I think the batteries might be dying. Brother VR99, good to see you, man. Appreciate you stopping in. Huge Packers fan. Well, you're in the right spot then, man. So let's talk about the Seahawks game. Feel free to keep the comments flowing. I'm going to check in occasionally, but let's talk about the Seahawks game. I know a lot of people were very frustrated with the first preseason game and kind of how sloppy everything felt. A lot of holding penalties. Felt like the defense was really soft. It just felt like everything was very clunky and just not a good flow. But man, if they haven't consistently gotten better week in and week out, I don't know what else they've done. Really, you capped off preseason with such a great performance against the Seahawks. And I know it's preseason, and I know it preseason, blah, 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 blah. Some people hate preseason. I love preseason. I love watching guys fight for a spot on a roster. I love for a lot of guys, this is the last opportunity to play in the NFL. They are going out there trying to put something on tape that's going to get them a job. There are some guys that know they're not getting a roster spot. We talked about Mark McNamee, what I don't even remember how we pronounce it. He sounds like he has a fake name, but we talked about McAmey. I think it was McAmey, Mark McAmey. We talked about him last week, how you're not getting a job. You're not beating out McManus. McManus just got a contract. That's not happening. But your job is to go out there and try to put out film that either you can get signed to a practice squad, hopefully the Packers practice squad, if you're already in Green Bay, or you get a job elsewhere and you just hope you land somewhere. And with that, I think preseason brings out such great competition in so many guys, and that ability to find these diamonds in the rough that you just never expect. You look back at when Donald Driver was drafted. No one expected Donald Driver to make the team. This late round pick, and coming in, issued number 13 off the bat, and then he goes on to be the Packers franchise leader in so many statistics for wide receivers. That's what I love about preseason. In the past, you've seen guys like Tremont Williams, Sam Shields. You see these guys that should not, by all accounts, should not be making a team. And not only do they make the team, but they end up going on to produce so many great plays and so many great stats and so many big plays for this franchise that it's incredible to see. They don't always stand out in preseason, but to see a name and be like, oh, that's an undrafted guy or a late round pick, and then he goes on to have a very successful career, maybe makes the Pro Football Hall of Fame or the Packers Hall of Fame. You just never know what you're going to see. So I love preseason football. I think it's a fun time. I love that it's stress-free for the most part, right? You want your team to play decent, but if they don't win, ultimately at the end of the day, it's not a big deal. But it's just fun to see these guys trying to put out some sort of tape to stay kind of in the league, if you will. So yeah, I really the Packers forced 4 fumbles in the game, or recovered 4 fumbles, forced 4 turnovers, lost 1 in the turnover battle. Heavy pressure on the quarterback, registering 5 sacks in the game, which is, you love to see that. Rashawn Gary was in there a lot in the limited snaps he played. Only had 4 penalties, which is great. You're seeing things maybe cleaning up a little bit there as well. And I would much rather see that sloppiness early and hopefully work out these kinks as you go through. And hopefully they're ready for week 1, because week 1 is going to be tough. Detroit is going to come in amped up. They are obviously in a weird situation. They have 2 brand new coordinators. They lost their center. We'll be talking about the Lions a bit more next week. But it's a tough way to start the season on such a tough opponent. But there's a lot of positives in that as well, because if you can get a win against a very powerful opponent in your division, you can really set yourself up for success in the season. Let's take a look at some comments here. Tony Wyowega, good to see you, man. Ron says it's still not working for him. Ron, are you getting like any certain behavior, or is the link just not loading? Let me try a shortened link here. All right, there's another link to it. If you're just now joining, there's a link to the giveaway. Submit that. Let me try it in incognito mode as well, just to make sure everything's working on it, because I think I have everything published all right. Yeah, everything's looking good for me. Let me know if you keep having issues there, Ron. Josh has great weather for football. Yeah, I mean, it's been beautiful here. Sam, good to see you. Yeah, I mean, Sam, that's kind of the argument, right? We don't know what's going on with the starters because they didn't play. I think in my mind, a lot of times you know what you have in starters for the most part, right? We didn't see Xavier McKinney play. You know you have something in Xavier already. Josh Jacobs played very limited snaps. Some of these guys, you know what you have, and they're going to be starters regardless. The depth to me is the important part, because there's going to be injuries throughout the season, and who are you putting in that depth spot? Who are you keeping on the 53-man roster? To me, that's the big question, because you don't want to whiff on a guy because they're not getting opportunities in preseason. And that's kind of the downside of preseason going from 4 games to 3 games, is that maybe guys can fall through the cracks a little bit more. Ideally, you'd like your starters to get a little bit more play time just to have that kind of rust gone by week 1. But, you can't have your cake and eat it too, I guess. So it's kind of, it is what it is. Chad says they went a long time in the Seahawks game without drawing a flag. That was a key to success. Yeah, that was. I mean, that's what you love to see. I think I was listening on the radio a bit because we're driving, and it really seemed like it was either the refs were letting them play or they just weren't really committing egregious penalties, which was great. Always good to beat the Hawks, but miss gum chewing Pete Carroll. Yeah, it's interesting not to see him with the Seahawks. I feel like I associate him so much with the Seahawks now. Keith says, Keith, let's try to get that. I don't know if I can I do? Oh, I can star this. I just starred this one for later. We're gonna get into that with the burning hot questions, so I'll come back to that. Brian says, "Go Pack, go! Go Pack, go!" Brian, good to have you. Let's answer this one in the burning hot questions. I didn't realize I could star ones. That might be a new thing. So I'm gonna start starring some of these. That way, when we get into burning hot questions, I'll answer them. Kirby says McManus game-winning field goal week 1. Heard it here first. Yeah, we will see. Jason says, you're a good man. I wish they would just get rid of preseason and do 3 joint practices instead. I feel like teams know who they're keeping based off of practice reps. Preseason is for extra beer sales. I don't know, man. I just, yes, you see some stuff in reps, but quarterbacks can't get hit. So maybe a quarterback is, I'm sure they call them sacks, even with them not being able to get hit. I haven't watched the joint practices there. I just think there's something different about a game rather than a practice. I don't know. I like preseason, but I get the argument either way. Dakota will answer that. We'll talk about that in burning hot questions. Still gives me a message that says file not available. That's really weird. I wonder what's going on with you here, Ron. Did you get blackballed? Did you get blacklisted? Let me try. I'm trying to think of another way here. Ron, I'll just when we get to that portion, just don't let me forget. I'll get you added in here manually. I'll just get you added in here. I know you're always in here filling it out. Raimundo, good to see you. Sam said that he had that had at work. James, the foreman, good to see you, man. Jenny says, disappointed to see Sean Clifford cut from 53-man roster. Yeah, we could talk about that. I was kind of surprised to see that they trimmed down to 2 quarterbacks as well. I thought maybe they're going to keep 3. Maybe the hope is that they can get Gersma or Clifford on the practice squad. But either that or maybe they're going out and looking at other options for a 3rd round or 3rd string quarterback. The Lions cut Hendon Hooker, who was a 3rd round pick, if I'm not mistaken. So maybe you like some of the other talent out there. The Packers have had Clifford on their squad for a while now. They know what they have with him. So they must feel comfortable enough that they are moving on without him, because maybe they know what his ceiling is. Brother says all the comments you are reading, I can't see them. That's because they're coming in from Facebook. You're on YouTube, so most people watch on Facebook. That's where more of my following is. Tony thinks Clifford will be back. So let's talk about this 53-man roster. So cuts officially happened today. Some notable ones that kind of surprised me, or maybe not necessarily surprised me. There were some that surprised me, but some names to call out. 2 obviously very big, very more known names in Mecole Hardman and Isaiah Simmons. Isaiah Simmons, I think, was like a top 10 pick back in 2020. Mecole Hardman had some success with Kansas City, winning some championships with them. Mecole, the plan was to probably use him more in special teams duty, but he seemed to not always make the greatest decisions. The opportunities had in preseason. So maybe not super surprised that they're moving on from him. I do like that you're bringing in these guys that maybe haven't played the greatest over the past couple of years, but maybe in the right situation they could. I think that was kind of the situation with Isaiah Simmons, top 10 pick in 2020. obviously a freak athlete, he can kind of play that linebacker safety spot. Maybe if he's just in the right spot, you can utilize that talent and bring it back out. The talent he saw and the success he saw in college, maybe you can harvest that and you can get lucky. Unfortunately, it didn't work that way. He looked pretty lost at linebacker. There are a lot of times where it just looked like he was kind of all over the place and maybe like missing his assignments and kind of figuring out missing where he was supposed to be. So that name didn't surprise me. We talked about Sean Clifford getting cut. Unfortunate. I love Sean. Seems like a great guy. I'm sure he will still have opportunities in the NFL, whether that's on the Packers practice squad or elsewhere on a practice squad. I don't think his time in the NFL is done yet. One that kind of surprised me, given our depth, and it sounds like the Packers want him back, is Kalen King. I thought in preseason he made a lot of really good plays. I saw teams trying to pick on him a little bit, and it seemed like he was maybe taking advantage of those opportunities and really full disclosure, I didn't watch every single preseason game. I actually feel like I watched the least amount of preseason games this year than I have in a long time. Just when they landed and kind of things had going on with the family. We were driving this past weekend. The weekend prior, we were also driving. So I don't feel like I had the opportunity to watch fully like I'd like to. So I very well could have missed something there. Corey Ballantyne was another one that kind of surprised me. I thought if Corey got cut, then I thought Kalen was safe. And then if Kalen got cut, I thought Corey was safe. And then here they cut both of them. Corey had opportunities or played with the Packers in the past. The Packers kind of know what they have with them. I felt like he had made plays last year. And so I thought maybe, hey, this is a guy that you could bring on and you know what you have with him. But they must have liked what they had elsewhere. One that really surprised me, and it surprised me last year as well, was Christian Welch getting cut. I felt like listening and watching to the preseason games, both last year and this year, that was a guy that just seemed to make plays. A lot of plays on special teams, even in the linebacker spot against some of the 2s and 3s, he really made some great plays. And if there's a guy that you're like, what do you have to do to make the team? That kind of felt like this guy. I hope that they're able to bring him back. I don't want to speculate anything because I don't know, but my hope would be that they somehow can kind of maneuver him back on the roster, because I think he provides a lot in a special teams way. That'd be great to have him on our team. You just need you need guys like that who can make the plays on special teams. But if not, he's going to get his opportunity elsewhere. We'll see what happens. Kind of some good news. There's some names that I was pleasantly surprised about. Bo Melton at cornerback making the team. Good on him, making the transition from wide receiver the last couple of years to moving to a cornerback role. There's going to be a big learning curve there, but what I like about that idea is if he can make that transition and really make it successfully, he really could be a really strong corner, in the sense of when you see those guys make that transition. We saw that with Sam Shields in college. Through his junior year, he was a wide receiver. Senior year, changed to cornerback and really made that transition and became a great corner in the league. When these guys do that, their hands are great. They're used to catching a pro football pass. So they come in as corners and they can kind of be some strong ball hawks. So hopefully we see that with Bo. Once again, I hadn't physically watched enough preseason to really know what's going on with everyone. I just listened, and when you're listening, you're kind of hearing what they're wanting you to hear. So, and then the other positive one, Nazir Stackhouse, undrafted guy who made a lot of splashes in practices and really looked the part. With him making the roster as an undrafted guy, that makes 21 years in a row that the Packers have had an undrafted guy make their roster. We talk about these opportunities being life-changing opportunities for some of these guys, and Nazir is one of those. Just the fact that he could take his opportunities on a team that maybe needed a bit more depth in his role or in his position and come in as an undrafted guy and make a 53-man roster such an impressive thing. So good on him. We saw some IR designations with Marshawn Lloyd and Jacob Monk, and then we saw some other season starting designations just based off of injuries that we got going on and some other stuff. I don't know why my mouse is being so stupid. I don't know if the sensor here isn't liking it or what. Yeah. I must have missed. I thought Hayden got cut, but maybe I'm mistaken. But I thought he got cut. I could be. I could definitely be mistaken there. All right, let me go back through. Jason said Kalen King not making it was a surprise to me with our secondary needs. I think maybe it'll be too close to Kevin King for Packers fans to be comfortable. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Poor Kevin King. I still feel for the guy. He's kind of doomed from the start. Yeah, I don't know. I think Kalen played well, but maybe they're going to try to get him back on a practice squad role, or maybe they're having other plans. You know, it's always interesting when you see the 53-man roster, right? And you see these guys that just narrowly skated by without getting cut, and they think their job's safe, and they're all happy. And then the next day, when the waiver wire goes, the Packers sign someone else that got cut by another team, and then you see the cut made the day after they made the 53-man roster. So I don't know. Maybe sometimes it's better to just not be that like on that bubble line, and maybe you get cut and you know that opportunity is coming rather than getting cut after the waiver wire kind of happens. I don't know. I'm sure it's tough either way. Are you concerned about starting the season without a solid backup center? Jenkins has missed a lot of practice. I'm not super concerned. The Packers generally have a lot of good depth and rotational pieces at the offensive line. And I also think Jenkins missing a fair bit of practice. I think a lot of that may be just, you know, you kind of rest and let guys heal that maybe aren't 100% because you're not needing to see them as much. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. You know, if I were very wise with rosters, I probably wouldn't be sitting here. I'd probably maybe be doing something a little bit more impactful with my knowledge. So Jason says it seems like only going with 4 linebackers that they are throwing caution to the wind with that special teams. Hope they not learned the hard way not to take teams lightly. Love that kicker and punter though. Yeah, I still think that maybe there's a way that Welsh comes back on the team, but it was kind of surprising as well. I thought that was kind of that was kind of odd. Matt says mouse smells a cat. Good to see you, Matt. It's always nice to get a local celebrity in the live show. Good to see you, man. Brother says, let's add that to the burning hot questions. We'll get to that because we're going to be jumping into those here shortly. Let's drop that giveaway link. If you have not filled it out already, do so now. If you've already filled it out, don't do it again. It just makes my life a lot more difficult to have to filter it out. So fill that out if you have not done so already. Let's get into these burning hot questions. Start dropping some questions if you got them. Doesn't have to necessarily be just football related. Could be life, whatever you're interested in hearing me yap about. Feel free to drop some questions, but let's get into this. Before we answer any questions, I want to say thank you to my friends over at Legend Larry's for proudly sponsoring the live show all season long. I really, second year working with them, I love working with Legend Larry's. And to be honest with you, what I love more than working with them is Legend Larry's itself. I've been going to Legend Larry's a long time, well before they knew who I was. So super stoked to be working with them. They are coming out with a new specialty flavor. I don't know what it is yet. I'm very eager to try it. When they do announce it, best believe your boy is going to try it and I will report back. But if you are coming into Green Bay, I really cannot recommend Legend Larry's enough. Like I said, I've been going there well before I had a sponsorship with them for sure. And even before I had my Green Bay guy page, before I had my website, anything, I've been going to Legend Larry's. So go check them out. If you're there, tell them I sent you. Some of them might not even know who I am, but if my guy Jim's working, he'll definitely know who I am. So go check them out if you are coming into town. All right. Let's look at some of these questions. I see more coming in. All right, let's get back to this. El Gurzmo, what are your thoughts on him? Will he end up back on the team practice squad? Yeah, I thought he did a lot of really positive things. It doesn't surprise me that he was cut, but I thought he did a lot of really positive things. As far as him coming in and being on the practice squad, I don't know. I don't know how they're going to craft that. I don't know if they're looking to maybe upgrade that third position or that third string quarterback. If there's another piece out there, like I said, Hendon Hooker, that could be a good name to bring in. I don't know. Admittedly, I don't know much about him. I know he had some talent in college. Maybe he kind of fits this offensive scheme a little bit better. So it wouldn't surprise me if they're going out there and they're trying to find a guy. We saw them go out last year, actually a year ago today. I got a notification on my memories that we traded for Malik. So you just never know what their plan is in the honor roster. They might make a trade here yet, and I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, Josh, I think we kind of talked about this a little bit, and not, I meant to save it for answering this, but Josh says, do you think the Packers get a new third string quarterback or resign one that they cut? That's a good question. I don't know exactly what they're going to do. It wouldn't surprise me either way, to be honest with you. I know nothing about what Goody's going to do. That's for sure. If there's anything I know nothing. I accidentally unstarred Dakota's. Dakota said if I'm ready to get my Micah Parsons jersey yet. I still do not think the Packers get Micah Parsons. Now I saw Chad, I know you texted me that the Ricky, the sports dog or whatever on Twitter said he saw from a source that the Packers have offered Micah Parsons like $45 million a year, and that we're just waiting on him to agree to those terms for this deal to happen. I'm still so like, I don't see it happening. I don't see the Cowboys trading a huge weapon to someone that they'd maybe see as a rival. The Packers have had the Cowboys number for, I don't know, the last 20 years, 25 years. So for the Cowboys to trade Micah Parsons to us, who we play the Cowboys this year, I think the Packers would have to give up such a dumb amount of trade capital or draft capital, even including players, that I would probably be very irritated that they made the move. I'm also a bit more conservative on things in that regard. I don't like the idea of giving away 3 first-round picks or 2 first-round picks for Rashawn Gary and $45 million in contract and this and this. I don't like that idea. And I know Micah Parsons is a phenomenal talent. He is an incredible player, but it's just a lot to give up for one player. And if one thing goes wrong in that, he can completely derail your franchise. Look at the Vikings in the late 80s giving up so much for Herschel Walker, and I don't think the Packers would give up that much. And Micah Parsons is far from a Herschel Walker in his career, where he's at in his career stage-wise. But it's just one of those things that, like, when you give too much capital, the risk is so hard because you're giving away a lot of first-round picks, and one bad year, now maybe you gave away a top 10 pick, which I don't need to harp on it too much. We talked about it a lot last week too. I think it's just another one of those players that we're going to see the rumor mill going on. And then last one that I had saved here, and I got some others coming in. I see a bunch of comments coming in. How do you think the defense is going to do this year? That's a good question. It's a tough one because you hope that they can build off of what they did last year and keep growing from that. So I'm excited to see how this looks. And, hopefully there's a lot of positive momentum building off of last year, and you can maybe see them put together like a top 5 defense would be my dream. After all the years of bad defenses, I would love to see like a top 5 defense and just be lights out. That'd be best case scenario for me. All right. Jenny says, Did the best cheese curds quest end? Thanks for the question, Jenny. Um, I say unfortunately, but unfortunately not. We're still doing it, and I say unfortunately because the fact that I am very sick of cheese curds. Cheese curds are an incredible food. And I've been mostly doing deep fried cheese curds because there's not nearly as many options for fresh cheese curds as there are deep fried. So I don't want to just do fresh because then I'd be out of places to go in like 3 weeks. And I've been doing a lot of fried cheese curds. I did another one today on my lunch break. I recorded the cheese curd, which that'll come out on Thursday. Great cheese curds, some of the best I've had so far in the quest. But now I'm just like, man, I do not want cheese curds. So I think I'm gonna do one more, and then I think I'm gonna kind of not necessarily stop it, but I'm gonna be breaking it up. I'm not gonna be doing it every single week. Cheese curds are great. Deep fried cheese curds are incredible, but they are not great when you are eating them every single week. Cheese curds, deep fried cheese curds are great when you're having them once every month, maybe every couple months. They're really enjoyable, and also when you're sharing them and not trying to eat a whole portion yourself because you're cheap and you don't want the cheese curds to go to waste. So Keith asked, "Did you try cheese curds at the state fair?" Great question, Keith. I did not. We got one food we did get was the pizza cheese curd tacos. So not directly cheese curds, but cheese curds were in it. We saw the cheese curds. I think they're like $22 for a bucket of curds. Either way, they could have been $5, and I wasn't getting them. I'm pretty sick of cheese curds. Tony says, "Do you think it was justified that Shiloh Sanders got cut for throwing a punch?" I gotta think that the him being cut was far from just because of the punch. I don't think he was uh, really making the plays that he needed to be. He was an undrafted player. I think the odds were hard. The odds were stacked against him already for making the team, but I think when you're doing antics like that, I think you know that that's going to make it even worse for you. No smelling salts this week. All right, Kirby, just for you, buddy. I feel like I'm a smoker packing my cigarettes here. All right, let's get amped up here. Better get some good questions coming in so I keep flipping that up thinking, all right, here you go, Kirby. Feeling good now. My right nostril is a little stuffy, but not anymore. We're feeling good. Thanks again for those, Kirby. I need to add more water. I think they're either I'm getting used to them or they're just not feeling as potent. So maybe I need to add more water. Ooh. Ever wonder why place kickers can't be a good punter? That is a good question, man. I've always thought about that. And I'm sure it's part of it's because it's just like you're practicing so much one certain style of kicking that you could maybe be serviceable in the other one. Like you've seen some punters try to make field goals and their accuracy is just not there. They can kick it, but maybe the accuracy is not there. But maybe one day you're going to get that freak that can just do both, that can boom punts like Daniel Whelan and kick a 70-yarder. And maybe they'll just be a freak that actually gets paid. Jason says, "How many hours of sleep are you getting a night?" Jason, great question. I'm actually doing really well now. My son is now old enough. I mean, don't get me started on that. But my son, he's a little over 2 now, which is unbelievable. But for the first year and a half, he just did not sleep at all. He was brutal. He would be up 4 times a night, and one of those times he'd be up for like 90 minutes at a go. I would go in there at night. That was kind of my role. If my wife went in there, it was almost worse. Like you'd be more amped up. So I was going in there in the middle of the night, and it got so bad. I was like, you'd be in there from 3 a.m. till 4:30, just chilling with him, and he's just hanging out, having a good time, just doing whatever. Then you'd put him back down at like 4:30, something like that. And then he'd be up again at 5:30, and you're just like, dude, I don't know what to do. I'm just hooking up in a coffee IV vein, but now he's good. He sleeps through the night now, so doing much better at sleep. Probably still like probably getting a solid like 8 hours every night now, which feels good. I'm still drinking an unhealthy amount of coffee though. Don't worry. Ron still can't enter. I don't know what's going on with you, Ron. I swear you're not blacklisted. I would never do that to you. I'll enter you in manually though. Don't worry. Sam says if Hooker was a Lion, seems like it couldn't hurt to have him in camp before first game. That's kind of another speculation. A lot of people are saying is that having him come in, maybe you can get something from him. I'm sure they're going to kind of, take. I'm sure they're going to kind of, I don't know, change things up. So he's probably not going to be able to give too much information away, but I don't know. We'll see. Tony says, after watching the documentary about the Cowboys, no way Jerry trades Parsons to us. That's kind of my thought. The Packers would really have to pay a premium at that point. It's like trading to a rival. Like the Packers aren't going to trade. The Packers wouldn't trade a star player to the Vikings unless the Vikings were really overpaying, or they're not going to trade him to the Lions unless the Lions are really overpaying. So I just don't see it. Christy says, Parsons not happening, and if it did, I'll eat my words and paint I love Dallas on my face for the game that season. Yeah, I was trying to think of like what state could I set that I'm so confident that it's not going to happen. What state could I set? I don't know. I have some very hot sauce upstairs. So I think it's like from when I did my hot ones thing, I think there's one that's like 2 million Scoville or something like that. So if Parsons landed on the Packers, if the Packers land Parsons and do that, maybe I'll do something with the hot sauce. How about that? I still don't think it's going to happen. Ben says, I think we're one key defensive player away from a terror. I'm hoping LVN has a monster year this year. Yeah, I mean, it's tough because the Packers are lacking in cornerback, and pass rush makes corners a lot better. So having a great pass rush is going to make life a lot better there. But I don't know. I don't know if that argument is let's throw all our eggs in this basket rather than, I don't know, trying to utilize these draft picks that maybe you can land someone that's going to be very serviceable. And it's tough because the draft is such a crapshoot that I see the argument on both sides of it is, would you rather give up draft picks that could be a good player for more of a sure thing, or would you rather take the chance on it and hope that you hit and now you have homegrown talent? So that's the tough part. James says Lambeau has some good cheese curds. They are definitely more than $4. I believe it. Tony says, has anyone sent you an air fryer yet? I haven't checked my PO box in a minute, but I have not seen an air fryer. I got to be honest with you. I don't know that I would use it either way. I'd maybe use it a little bit here or there, but like I said, my counter space is being used up entirely by coffee stuff. So, Casey said, are you going to any games this year? Pittsburgh, the wings out there. Yeah, Big Shot Bob's out in Pittsburgh. Great wings as well. I think Legendaries would be okay with me saying that. When I talked to Larry on the phone, it was kind of surreal because, Legend Larry feels like he's a made up character. Like Larry to me feels like this fictional, non-fictional, fictional, whatever. He feels up like this made up character. I think it's fictional. It feels like this fictional character. I always get those two mixed up. I'm stupid. Don't mind me. But he feels like this fictional character, kind of like Colonel Sanders always felt like this like fake character. And I talked to Larry on the phone and I was like, man, this is a weird experience because it just doesn't feel like you exist. Because he has multiple Legend Larrys in the area. And he's not at the Green Bay one. I've never seen him at the Green Bay one. So when I was talking to him, he said that he loved going all over the country and trying wings out there. And I think he'd be okay with Big Shot Bob's. They're a pretty good wing spot. I still love Legend Larry's better, but I like the flavor combinations that Big Shot Bob's have. They have a lot of options. So But I am going to the Bengals game. I think is the only game I'm going to. I wanted to go to the Pittsburgh game. I was trying to make it happen, but with my son, I don't think it's going to be on the agenda this year. So it's unfortunate. Unfortunate. Can I enter you into the giveaway? If you're having issues, James, I can, but I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna enter everyone manually. We'll be here for forever. Dakota says, reading any good books lately? I love that question, Dakota. I'm a little embarrassed to answer what I'm reading right now. I am reading The Pragmatic Programmer, which is, to me, it's a very good book all about computer programming and being a better developer, which I am in my career. Not very exciting for most people, but I think it's a very interesting read. So I think I also have the Jared Kramer book on my nightstand. I have a stack of books on my nightstand that I'm reading, but The Pragmatic Programmer is the one I'm reading right now. I had a pierogi poutine with amazing melted curds at the Summer State Fair here on Sunday. Dude, sign me up for that, Christy. That sounds incredible. I know I'm kind of over the cheese curds right now, but I would definitely crush that. He says, is the running back room okay? I mean, I think so. There's some good depth there. That's actually one area that I probably feel a little bit better about than some of the other ones. We saw Chris Brooks and Emmanuel. Both of those guys look good. I think running back, maybe you can plug and play a little bit better, assuming you have a good offensive line. So let's see here. Was it punter Craig that did a little emergency kicking for the Packers? I was probably too young to remember that, but you might be right, Ron. I trust your memory on that. You definitely you're probably right on that one. Keep telling Ben to do poutine on one of the other outings. I don't see poutine too much out there. I love poutine, but I just don't see it out there as much. Sam said, I just booked my airfare for the Bengals game. Also, I'll see you out there and definitely take some of these tips for places to eat. Yeah, man. I hope you hit me up. It'd be great to get together. Have Ramage watch the boy. So when we had our son, Matt at one point texted me like, "Oh, congratulations," and then he said, "If you ever need anyone to watch your son, I trust you'll find them." Which I thought was just such a great line. If you ever need anyone to watch your son, I trust you'll find them. He basically told me that his days of watching kids are done. He raised his kids. He's good, which is fine. Yeah. Teresa, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. James says, come try my air fryer / convection oven. You may change your mind. If I had an oven with an air fryer, I think I'd be okay with it in that way. I do not want an extra appliance on my counter. My counter is already cluttered enough. Christy said, gravy, sour cream, green onions, curds, mini pierogies. All right, I'm out on the green onions. Sour cream, to me as well. All right. Let's one last go, and then we're going to be doing this giveaway here. While we're doing that, I'm giving a couple more minutes, and then we're going to do enter this giveaway. So if you have any other questions, we'll probably got like another minute. I'm going to just if you are just joining in, fill that out. If you've already done so, don't do it again. You just make my life a little bit more difficult by doing so. Ron, I will manually get you added once we hit this in here. Yeah. So kind of speaking of the cheese curds, one funny thing that happened is my wife took my car to work not long ago. We had to bring our other vehicle in to get some warranty work done on it, to get a recall done. So my wife took my car to work. And in my car, because of these cheese curd reviews, I have a scale in my car. And my wife gets in and she's like, why do you have a scale? And I said, for cheese curd reviews, so I can weigh how many ounces of cheese curds I get. And she said, can we hide this? It feels like I'm driving around like you're a drug dealer, like weighing out your drugs for for the for my next score. And I'm just like, I didn't even think about that. Like I'm gonna get pulled over and I'm gonna have like a scale on my passenger seat, and then I gotta try to explain that no, I'm not doing anything nefarious. I'm weighing cheese curds for content I do. I don't know, like the cop might just like make fun of me more than anything. Maybe I should just say that I'm selling drugs just to not look like such a loser at that point. But it's pretty funny. I didn't even think about it. Never crossed my mind once that it'd be perceived in that light just because I'm weighing them for cheese curds. But all right, let's do this giveaway here. Let me get Ron added to this, and then we're gonna switch over. All right, Ron. All right, Ron, I got you added. If you win, I'll message you on Facebook or something. I think I might have your address either way. Because you've won, I think you won that Bart Star thing a while. What, last 2 years ago? I think it was 2 years. Maybe it was last year now. I don't know. Yeah, it was last year. All right. Jenny says, last one. Are the mosquitoes bad in Green Bay also? Jenny, you are asking the wrong person. I go out, like we'll go outside and play in like playgrounds and stuff, but I'm not like kicking up the grass too much. And I work remotely, so I'm always at home. I don't go outside enough to know about the mosquitoes, but I'm sure they're bad. I don't know. That's a good question though. All right, before we draw this, let's we got to keep the lights on, obviously, and say thank you to my friends over at Nicolet Law for sponsoring the show as well. Without them, I would not be able to do these giveaways each and every week, and I wouldn't be able to do these bonus giveaways if the Packers were to lose, because even when bad things happen in our lives, even if it's something as trivial as the Packers losing a game, Nicolet Law has our back. So I want to give a quick shout out to Nicolet Law, the Midwest personal injury law firm. Whether it's a crash, a slip and fall, or something else that leaves you injured and dealing with insurance and medical bills, Nicolet Law knows how to help. They walk you through your options, handle the insurance companies, and fight to get you what you deserve. Biggest thing, no upfront fees. If you don't win, you don't pay, which is huge when you are strapped for cash and dealing with these injuries. You're not flooded with cash, that's for sure. Just local attorneys who show up when it counts. You can reach them at 1-855-NICOLET or nicoletlaw.com. So really, I can't thank them enough for all that they do to support what I do here and make sure that we're able to do a lot of fun stuff. But let's draw this. I'm going to just kind of look through, make sure we don't have any duplicates here. Everything's looking good. Awesome. I don't know if my mouse. All right. 22 entries. I'll be sharing my screen here in 1 second. Just want to get this in here. Share my screen. All right, here we go. 22 entries. Best of luck to you guys. And here we go. Corey is back on the board. Congratulations, Corey. Give me 1 through 35, up or down if you could, please. God, look how close you were, Kirby. So embarrassing. One day you'll get it. One day. I think you're still in here, Corey. I'm excited. See what you win. Send another thing to New Ulm, Minnesota here. All right. While we're waiting on that, we don't have any games to play this weekend. I hope you guys are planning on having some relaxing Labor Day weekend. I know I'm definitely needing it after last weekend and how much driving we were doing. So it'll be good to have a long weekend. Got a family reunion to go to, which will be fun. So it'll be a little bit of driving, but not too bad. 21. Can't see it, but Kirby says, I dislike you on Tuesday evenings. Oh, you love me, Kirby. You know you love it. 21. Corey, you got yourself a Santana Dotson 8x10. I don't think you can see it that great because it kind of blows it out. Congratulations. I have your address still, I think, from when you won last year. So I'll get this over to you. I'm going to be mailing it out, I believe. I was going to say this weekend. I was hoping to get it this weekend, but with Labor Day, I don't know if I will. But I will do my darndest to get it out to you. Either way, I'll get it out to you soon. I'm sure you trust that it'll happen because I think you won a couple times last year and you always got your prize. So, all right. As always, I like to end with a fun story of the week for you guys. Kind of give you something as in exchange for having to listen to me ramble for the last 55 minutes. But this is a fun one. This is a fun story and one that I've been waiting to share. And I felt like this was a good week for it. But did you know that the Packers are somewhat responsible for the NFL having the goalposts that we do today? Here's that story. In 1965, the Packers were playing the Colts in the Western Conference playoff game. They were down 13-10 in the final moments of the game. Don Chandler went out to kick a game-tying field goal. He kicked the ball, he tried his field goal attempt. And after he kicked, Don threw his head back in disgust, thinking that he missed the kick. Well, the kick, if you watch the camera angle, the kick appears to go just wide. However, back then, camera angles weren't straight on, so it is kind of a little bit of deceiving from the angle. But so Don attempts his kick. It looks wide. Don looks disgusted. But the refs throw up their hands that it's good. Game goes into overtime. The Packers end up winning the game in overtime and then eventually go on to beat the Cleveland Browns to win the championship for the 1965 season. So in 1966, the NFL voted to offset the goalposts, so they're no longer on the goal line to make them in the back of the end zone, and extend them 20 feet higher because the kick went over the uprights. They were also mandating the goalposts to be painted bright gold to make it easier to see if the ball makes it, misses it, and makes it easier for the refs. Dave Robinson has a great joke about this controversial kick because it is a very controversial thing, especially when you see that the Packers went on to win the championship. Dave jokes that he takes his game check into the bank following the game, and he brings it to the teller, and he says, listen, this check comes from a game that had a very controversial kick in it. We won the game, but it was off of a very controversial kick that we were even in the opportunity to win the game. And he explains all this to the teller. He hands the teller the check. The teller looks at the front, looks at the back, and says, it's good. So there you have it. That's the story of the week. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I love that story. I love Dave telling the joke because Dave's just a great one. But it's interesting to see, because the Packers have such a rich history, to see all the times that maybe they were involved in things happening. We saw the Fail Mary bring back the referees years ago, things like that with the goalposts being changed because of something that the Packers were there for. So love it. I hope you guys all have a great rest of your week. Have a great, safe Labor Day. Hope to see you here same time, same place next Tuesday. And we're going to be talking about the Packers taking on the Lions. We're officially back to football, ladies and gentlemen. Have a great rest of your week. Thanks for watching. And as always, go Pack Go.